evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the lair of the film Exorcist. Tonight we will be reviewing Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, which came out in 2017 and continues the story of Rey as she trains to become a Jedi and the survival of the Resistance after the destruction of Starkiller Base. So let's get on to the crew. It was directed by Rian Johnson, produced by Kathleen Kennedy and Ram Bergman. It was written by Rian Johnson. Music was done by John Williams, cinematography by Steve Yedlin, and it was edited by Bob Duxey. The cast consists of Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, Carrie Fisher as Leia Organa, Adam Driver as Kylo Ren, Daisy Ridley as Rey, John Boyega as Finn, Oscar Isaac as Poe Dameron, Andy Serkis as Supreme Leader Snoke, Donald Gleason as General Hux, Anthony Daniels as C-3PO, Gwendolyn Christie as Captain Phasma, Kelly Moran Tran as Rose Tico, Laura Dern as Vice Admiral Ameline Holdo, also known for Dr. Ellie Sattler in Jurassic Park 1 and 3, and Franny Lancaster in The Fault in Our Stars, Frank Oz as Yoda, and Benicio del Toro as DJ, who's mostly known for The Collector in the MC Universe, and Giannis Suetamo as Chewbacca for the very first time. And let's get on to my opinion. First off, I feel Rian Johnson should not have been director or writer on this movie, because right before this he did Rogue One, which was a very boring movie, and going into this, he didn't follow any of J.J. Abrams' ideas for it. He just used the characters, and this movie, I'd say, is somewhat the episode 2 of this sequel. Of this trilogy, and basically, you've got Canto Bight, which does not belong in this movie. It just feels like filler, where I guess you could say Cloud City in episode 5 could be this movie's Canto Bight, but at least Cloud City had a real purpose instead of, oh, let's find the code breaker, oh, never mind, let's have this thief do it, that we can totally trust. And then we've got the stupid puppy horses, we've got the whole World War II looking bombers that they used to destroy the Dreadnought, which, really, you didn't have any Y-Wings left over, so you used these big, bulky, slow things. Very stupid. But on the bright side, I really did enjoy Luke, and I felt he was very accurate to how most would actually feel after everything that he built was actually destroyed. It was his fault. We can see that throughout the movie, but the problem is he went into exile because he caused Kylo Ren and because he lost all his students, whether they were killed or brought to the Knights of Ren, which we don't really know right now, but it's just a huge blow on him, and I like Luke in this movie. Yeah, there's the green alien milk, which no one really wants to see, but I liked him. He's cynical, and he belongs in this movie. I don't care what anyone says. I love Luke in this movie, especially the funny scene where Rey claims she can feel the Force because he's waving a reed in front of her hand, and Luke just slaps her because, really? He tells you to use the Force. He means feel through your feelings, not with your hand, dumbass. I loved watching Poe destroy the Dreadnought turrets, but I felt the bombers were useless. But let's focus on Poe. The beginning, he's making jokes. It's okay. I laughed the first viewing. Second viewing, I found it kind of annoying or useless. But then we get into the real action, where he's just destroying all these all these turrets on this dreadnought, and it's amazing. It's actually really cool seeing how his last X-Wing was easily destroyed. This one, it took a hit from a turret and kept on going. But then it was also ruined with the BB-8 comedy scene. And this movie is filled with a lot of comedy, which was not needed. And that's another reason why I don't want Rian Johnson doing another Star Wars film. Sorry, I'm not too happy for his trilogy that's supposed to come out. But there's also the problem of Phasma died way too early. I mean, we only get to see her during the first sequel, which we get to see her for the beginning, and then we get to see her during the third act when they are turning off the shield. This one, we only get to see her for the last act, and then they kill her off. I mean, she feels like this sequel trilogy, it feels like she's Boba Fett, basically. How we only see him during the last act of Empire Strikes Back, and then the Return of the Jedi, we only get to see him during the first act, and then he dies. It's bullshit. But I did love the throne scene fight, which was really good. I mean, it almost competes with the battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin for the top spot for best lightsaber fight. I mean, this is great. They're up against multiple guards, and they just slaughter them easily, even though they do put up a really good fight. I didn't really mind Crate that much. I just feel Kylo Ren getting out of his ship just to kill Anakin felt very stupid towards the plot. I mean, they were so close to defeating the rebels. It's supposed to be somewhat similar to Hoth, where the rebels ended up getting away from Darth Vader, but I don't really feel this made it look good. I mean, Luke distracted Kylo Ren. Darth Vader, he wasn't distracted. He was just a bit slow. And this movie, I see it as, it's mostly Empire Strikes Back, in a way, backwards. I mean, we go from Hoth, which is Crate in this movie, to Canto Bight, which is Cloud City, and we also have Dagobah, which is supposed to be Octu in this movie, and it's just stupid. It's mainly a stupid, childish copy of Episode 5 that didn't really work. And again, I did like this movie on my first viewing. Now I'm seeing all these problems on my second viewing, and I understand why a lot of people didn't like this movie. But again, there are parts I liked, like Luke, a lot of pose scenes. I could understand why some people felt Rey was overpowered when we watch her lifting up the rocks, but she's still human, and I don't see the Mary Sue in this movie. And John Boyega, funny in this movie, but we had to deal with Rose, who didn't really make sense in this movie working with him, and she had this stupid line where she claims, we shouldn't be fighting what we hate, but saving what we love, and I find it very stupid and cheesy. Again, this is the episode 2 of the sequel trilogy, and yeah, I like some parts from episode 2, same for this, but it's also not really needed. And I really wish J.J. Abrams had done the whole trilogy, instead of J.J. Abrams, then Rian Johnson, and now we have J.J. Abrams back. Thank God. But now, because of Rian Johnson, he has to figure out how to answer all these questions that Rian just brushed off or gave the worst answer ever. So, I'm giving this a 4 out of 2. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's lower on my list than Episode 2, but I can accept this movie in some parts. But it's just a bad movie. So I'll see you guys next week because we've got a special anime episode, which I won't be telling you guys until it comes out. And just have a great night. We'll see you next week, and may the Force be with you always.